everyone. Welcome to the Americana Station podcast. I'm your host, Will Payne Harrison. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today on the podcast, we have Volk with their new record, Cashville, which is out. And I believe on May 29th, they're actually selling special edition vinyls. So you definitely want to be able to check that out, including one that is made with actual cash in the vinyl, which is pretty cool. But over the weekend, they played at the Basement, which was cool. I missed it. I was in the studio. Really excited about that. So I had Tim Kuras come in and lay down drums for me at Elevated Music Studio. Thank you so much, Elevated, for allowing us to bring our drums in there. And I was actually the engineer and producer on the session. Super cool. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done that. So this next record will be self-produced. And I am excited about that. I'm excited about this new batch of songs. Got 11 songs coming out. TBA on the title. But we got the drums down. And next up will be the bass. I got to get the Rayo brothers to track one of the tunes down in Louisiana. But we're starting to get things going here. And I'm excited about it. A lot more info will be forthcoming on that record. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Volk played at Basement. If you missed that, there's an outside show they're doing on Fridays that are free. So make sure if you're in Nashville to check out the Basement schedule because they've got some rad shows coming up on Fridays for free. What else is going on? We got some great new records that are coming out. My friend Dirt Reynolds is about to put out a new single, so make sure you go follow them on social media and I guess on Spotify and stuff because they've got a new record. They've got a new single coming out and they are celebrating the 1 year anniversary of their record, which came out this time last year. My brain's a little fried. It's been a long weekend, so we're going to get into the episode today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure that you rate and review if you have not. It has helped so much. It's got us in the top 10 on the Americana podcasts. When you search for Americana podcast, we come up in the top 10. Thank you so much for doing that for me. If you leave a review, it helps even more, but that 5 stars really helps a lot. So if you could just take the time, I know there's a few hundred of you that are listening every month. If all of you just click the little 5-star on Apple Podcasts, that would mean the world to me. That would put us probably in the top 5. So yeah, if you're listening, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you just take that few seconds to put the little 5-star review and maybe leave a comment about what you like about the podcast, that would be so helpful. But without further ado, we're going to get into Volk.
We're getting ready to drive out to our show.
Oh yeah, you're playing in Mississippi tonight, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me very well?
Nashville? I'm sorry?
Yeah. We're in Nashville. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Awesome.
I'm counting. Okay.
Still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear y'all.
I think it's okay. Do you use, you don't use any like video, you just use Zoom as like the modulator or whatever to like record.
Exactly. That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Perfect. Then I'll put that right there.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. How about y'all?
Oh, juggling the million things that we all do as independent musicians.
Yeah.
You know all too well.
Is it weird getting back into things? Have y'all been kind of on a break with
very weird.
Yeah. I just booked my first gig this week and I'm like, oh shit, I don't even know if I know my songs anymore.
That was a concern.
It's been a year.
Yeah, well, it's like our problem last week, which is a funny problem to have, is like most of the places we played were packed and there weren't many masks. So a lot of those, or I guess one of them was outside and another was like, relatively okay spaced, but it's just like, do we make money on the road or do we I don't know, like we can only survive for so long and we want to be safe, we want to be on the good side of history. So that's kind of the conundrum.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And like, I've gotten some like requests for downtown gigs and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to play anything downtown right now.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No, thank you.
So you guys met in Berlin in 2013?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sure did.
But are y'all both American or are y'all from Germany? You're both American?
We're both American. My family, my father's side's from Germany. But even he was born in California, I guess. Chris was teaching internationally and he had done Peace Corps in Ukraine. So that's sort of what led you to Berlin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was finishing up my theater studies from college in Berlin as an incredible theater scene. So that's kind of the random reasons why we ended up playing some open mics in Berlin and meeting.
Yeah, the last thing on my mind when I went to Berlin was like, I'm going to go be a musician. That just kind of happened.
That's awesome. So, Elliot, were you playing drums back then too, or were you playing guitar or?
Yeah, I was playing guitar, doing mostly sort of bluesy stuff on my own. And then it wasn't until probably the second year of Volk that I actually started playing drums. I had a piece of wood with a tambourine nailed to it called Fritz that I used to stomp on. But yeah, it took some time till we were like, maybe we should try this duo thing out as a full band, and it's basically just gotten louder since.
Yeah, I think it's interesting whenever you talk to duos. I don't think I've ever met a duo yet that like intentionally was like, we're gonna be a duo. It's just kind of, it's like a lot of just logistics, just it's hard to find bass players. It's hard to find.
They're unreliable, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
And maybe it's just some happy accidents. And I think it's turned out pretty well. Maybe I'm just being selfish because, when you do have a duo, you get a lot of space musically to do things. And I've tried to go back and play with full bands and it's like, this is weird. Like, I don't want to have to pay attention to what you're doing. Because I'm lazy.
Do you do like octave on another amp or anything like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know who came up with that idea originally. I'm sure it was just guitar players or bassists trying to get more sound. A lot of my rig was borrowed from a band called Gravel Tones, and their guitar player, Jimmy O, he was the first one who explained the concept of splitting the amplifier. And then just researching other bands, obviously White Stripes, Black Keys, but also looking at bands like Royal Blood, the Gravel Tones, Ghost Wolves, other duos, and seeing kind of what they were doing and kind of slowly learning what I wanted to do, where I do split between a bass and a guitar amp. But I let the guitar amp be completely a guitar. And then the bass amp is just kind of going thump. Like I try to make it where there's no pitch coming out. I completely take out all the treble and I just max out the bass. And then there's octave pedals, differing ones depending upon the song. And it's just going thump, thump.
That's wild. Yeah. Yeah. I'm originally a bass player. So when I write songs, just on acoustic guitar, I tend to like find the bass line on the, E and A string and then kind of play around with the other four strings. Anyway, that's just like inevitably what I end up doing. So that's super cool that you're able to get so much sound out of, just a few pedals and a couple of amps.
I thought about trying to maybe just get a bass for songwriting, because Sheryl Crow was talking about how she writes every song on the bass. And I was wondering, I wonder if that has to do, like, it helps the groove of the song naturally and the melody just kind of come alive, because you're not trying to think about the chord structures and things like that. You're just thinking about the basics of the song.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard though too, because I play solo a lot whenever there is an actual bassist in my band, because then I have to like stop playing the bass lines, Yeah. It's hard to undo that once you start. You just always play the bass lines on the guitar.
Yeah. We've had like many people offers, like, let me come play bass for you. Like many times. And we're just like, we spent so much time figuring out how to do this as a duo. Like, I don't know how I would unlearn that at this point.
Yeah. So on the record, did you have other players play, or was it just the two of you?
It's always just been us.
That's awesome. Did you record the record live to tape, or?
No. It was recorded digitally in Indianapolis at Threshold Studios with Brian Thornburn, who we call Bone. And he's just an expert. He works mostly with like heavy metal bands and hip hop bands, and he knows how to get a big sound. And there's obviously there's guitar overlays, to thicken it. But I'm happy how it turned out. It's cool.
Yeah. And dude, the records, I've been seeing y'all sharing you have actual cash in one of the vinyl.
Yeah.
It's rad.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to call it Cashville besides the obvious reason?
Yeah, that was, I don't know. It was actually kind of an easy decision. It has a lot to do with, what we feel, how we feel about having lived here for almost 5 years now. And I think it's sort of our opinion of what Nashville really is, as in always focused on money, no matter what, profits over people sort of thing.
Yeah. Like even selling the town as itself and where it's like on a travel show or something like that. They want to say what's the saying about Nashville? It's a drinking city with a music problem.
Yeah.
But that's it's even, Austin has the same thing with Keep Austin Weird. It's just a selling thing. And it's really just kind of giving I'm demonstrating with my arm, a ribbing, just like poking fun.
Yeah, it's cheeky, but also a lot of our songs are, this is the first time Volk really is we're able to share our songs that are more holistic to our sound. Our last EP, Average American Band, was pretty much all rock. And the one before that was more focused on our songwriting and probably the closest thing to Americana we'll ever get. And this time around, we've got, honky tonk swingers. We've got our rock as well. We've got ballads. So I think, it's cheeky, and it's also we're trying to sell ourselves too,
Yeah.
Right.
Chris constantly says he wants to sell out. So it's okay, if this is the game we're supposed to play, here's the game. Let's go. Yeah,
we're not trying to bury the lead. We feel we're just we understand that this is a business. This is the way that it's set up. We have a TikTok. We're still figuring out what its purpose is, how it works.
And I think really our Volk show has become this sort of borderline spectacle that we can pull back and, and push forward however we like. But we have absolutely leaned into that the past couple years and have these really rad suits by Sibel Elena that were custom made for us last year. And it's fun. It's fun to realize your true band dreams, in that respect.
Yeah. And the thing about you guys is okay, even on your bio, it says they're doing the reverse White Stripes setup. And that obviously is going to be a comparison you get until someone sees you live. And then it's oh no, they're just Volk. You have your own style, and it doesn't when you hear and see the live show, it doesn't, at least in my experience, I think I've only seen you guys a couple of times, and it's been probably 2 years. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't I never thought other than oh, it's just drums and guitar. I never thought oh, this is a White Stripes thing, or this is a, whatever, Black Keys, or it's rock and roll and it's a 2-piece, but it didn't necessarily, you, like you said, you can't bury the lead, and you kind of got to be we're doing the duo thing. But I've never thought when I saw your live show that you're anything other than Volk, which is cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. And I think when we first started out, certainly when I was still learning the drums, things were way more wrong, way more stripped down. And that was a lot more White Stripes-y, inclined. That was a place to be inspired from and to go from. But we've certainly graduated. And, I think I always like to tell, especially my friends here in Nashville who haven't gotten on the road yet, it's the road sculpts your sound, it sculpts your band, and we really took that to heart. And it's why we moved back to the States, so that we could tour like we wanted to. So we really owe that all to just getting out there, and taking the punches and letting it mold us for better.
Yeah, and we wear our influences on our sleeves, even though people will be, even when we tried to record, people will be like, "Oh, you're going to need a bass for that," or like, "How are you going to make that song work?" And it's like, "Screw you, we will figure it out somehow." And
Chris thinks the world's after him.
Probably. Sometimes. I haven't been proven wrong that they're after me. But just like if we want to reflect Waylon Jennings in a song, or if we want to reflect the Killers, or like, we're huge fans of pop synth like Robin, like, we'll try it. We're not gonna, maybe we're just dumb and we just don't know any better.
Wow.
Or we're just naive and don't know any better, but we're gonna try to do it and let it be maybe something new.
When you're writing, is it like always as a duo, or do you like bring pieces to each other?
We do it all. We kind of, it's like depends on the song, and there's songs that we will bring to each other fully fleshed out. There's, melodies we'll bring to each other. I might have lyrics and Chris will be like, "Hey, what about that with this?" It kind of just depends on what the song needs. But what we do that is kind of unique, I think, is that we don't ever claim independent songwriting credits. So at the end of the day, it's always a Volk song. And that has more to do with the amount of work that really goes into arranging the song once we get in the rehearsal room, So
totally, yeah.
Yeah, in our opinion, it's always a Volk song, even if, one of us wrote it, quote, technically, all by ourselves.
And there's so much that goes into it. Like maybe I wrote the lyrics or something to a part, but Elliot makes it her own with how she delivers it the way that I would never have thought to. And she'll bring like a guitar riff and things like that, and I'll turn it into something, my attempt of trying to be the country Tom Morello.
It's going strong.
That's got to be wild to try to get those Tom Morello sounds out of, just being a one piece.
Oh, heck yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I grew up Catholic, and I see in your bio that you have a song called Revelator's Bottleneck about Catholic Southern guilt. Oh,
yeah.
So who's the Catholic?
Oh, me.
You? Yeah.
I grew up in I like to call it the belt hole of the South, of Palestine, Texas, or Tyler, Texas, depending upon the parent. And I went to Catholic school my whole life, but got to be surrounded by, like Southern Baptists and things like that. And like whispers of like, oh, the Catholics. Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like these weird things where like they like, banned Harry Potter from our school system, and like, what?
My sister's a nun. Just for reference. Yeah. So my family's very Catholic, but I mean, that's like the South Louisiana. Everyone's super Catholic.
Of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Where in Louisiana?
Well, they're in Alexandria, Louisiana. Tioga.
Okay. My family's from there.
Oh, really?
Wow.
My grandfather's side, Big Pop. And the one thing I hear about, Alexandria is.
No, go ahead. It's cool. I'm not going to be offended.
Oh, no. It was just like one thing my mom explained to me was like, yeah, that's a very racist part of the country.
Oh, for sure.
And my Big Pop, or my great grandfather was part of the Ku Klux Klan. So I was like, okay, yeah, I believe you. But yeah, my other family, the hardcore Catholic part is the Cajuns from Lafayette.
Okay.
Yeah, I got all the mutt in me.
That's awesome. Elliot, where are you from originally?
I am from San Diego, California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Also Southern-ish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like 20 minutes from the border. Yeah, it's changed a lot. I think a lot of people from LA have moved down to San Diego, and San Diego is just kind of one of those towns where like everyone would love to live. So just because the weather's so good, I don't know. It's been a while since I've lived there though.
Yeah. So did you guys move to Nashville from Berlin, or how did that transition come to be?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, we did have a summer. So we basically came back in May 2016 And then that summer we spent in Texas, in Palestine, Texas, where Chris is from. Played some Texas shows. It was kind of like a crash landing, if you will, just because, Chris had been in Europe for about almost 8 years. And we'd both been in Berlin for 4 years and just figuring it all out. The trash bags were scented by the time I got back to the States.
Yeah.
But anywho, we really thought that Texas was going to be the place we were going to land in, but we realized quickly that there's the Texas tax just to drive out of the state, just to start your tour. And a couple of our friends had mentioned that Nashville was great, not just as a music industry city, but because of its central location. So that's what we tell people now. One of the main reasons, besides the community and friends that we have here, that we love Nashville is because it's just so easy to tour out of.
Yeah.
So Nashville, we moved to that fall.
Yeah. Still if anybody's wondering, those musicians out there, which city should I be in? If there's a lot of things that make Nashville good, if you are trying to do the industry thing, or if you are trying to be a touring band, it's just optimal.
Have you been working from home and trying to improve your home studio? I want to talk to you today about soundproofyourstudio.com. They help create your dream home studio. I know with COVID, it's hard to get out and go to a regular studio, and a lot of us have been building up our home studios. And if you sign up, they give you a free soundproofing course, and you get 10 secrets to pro recordings and mixes. Not only that, but I was also sent a studio build checklist for signing up. So make sure you go to soundproofyourstudio.com. That's soundproofyourstudio.com today. Are you a fan of Americana music and you want to hear the latest and greatest reviews and opinions on the up-and-coming artists in the scene? Well, then you need to visit americanahighways.org. That's americanahighways.org for reviews like Crown Over by yours truly and playlists like the Backroads playlist by yours truly. There's lots of great reviews on there, and you should check it out, americanahighways.org. And now back to the interview. Yeah, because you're within 6 hours. It's like 25 cities.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's nuts. Where's your big tour? Where's the place that you go where it's this is where our fans are? This is because it's always different for every single act. I feel like
it really is. That's a great question. We have found. I think we've really dedicated most of our time to the Midwest. Yeah. Probably the northern part of the Midwest more so because they pay well and they're really happy when you come out any time of year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We love to play Chicago. It's probably one of our favorite places to play, but we'll be all up in Wisconsin, Appleton, Green Bay. Love Mila Music in Appleton, One of a Kind Festival.
Yeah.
Minneapolis. Chris, we're always thinking maybe Minneapolis is the next place to move. Because
Minneapolis or Detroit.
Minneapolis has got such an incredible music scene that I think doesn't get the kind of talk that, of course, that Nashville does. But, we can go down to Kansas City. We usually the good thing too is Chris is from Texas. So we tend to spend March in Texas. We were stuck there last year we were almost stuck there when the shutdowns began, and we were, in the beginning of a 2-week tour. So we came back quickly after that, but I don't know. We haven't done the West yet.
We enjoy the Carolinas a lot too.
That's true. Charleston.
We have great shows in Charlotte.
North Carolina for sure.
It's hard remembering because it's been a year. But we just have pockets of fans, and we get really. They become friends. So it's hard to say. Detroit
is another one where it's almost like an extra hometown we have because we've played there so much and my sister lives there. And that area Hamtramck, they just basically have adopted us. Mm-hmm. I think it's funny because as a rock and roll band, we're kind of bound to do well in cities. But then we've got some twang and stuff, so we can get by pretty well on those smaller town breweries that pay well.
Yeah.
So we've played a lot. We have yet to do the West Coast, but that's a huge financial investment. So we're just trying to play it smart.
Yeah, we did Europe before we did the West.
Which is probably a smarter financial decision, honestly.
Yeah, literally, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to the West Coast in 2019 for the first time, and a lot of wineries and stuff like that if you're going to make money. But yeah, like they just, at least I was more in the North West, and there's not as much, at least the venues I booked, there's not as much like country music being played in those areas. I think it's more in the South area of California and stuff like that. But I made the trip out there. It was fun. It was beautiful, but not necessarily financially viable.
Yeah. That's interesting to hear. I know it's funny because our friends Mayo and Broussard, who are a great sort of swamp country band out of Austin, who's just produced their album, John Evans, who's an incredible Texan singer-songwriter, country man out of Houston, but now Austin. Anyway, they did the West Coast, and I think you're right, they were mostly in the South, like basically Bakersfield to San Diego playing stuff.
Yeah. And there's a growing like honky tonk, I guess, scene in LA and stuff like that. I just talked to Elijah Ocean this past week. He just moved from there to East Nashville and said that it's a really good scene there. And Robert Henry is somewhere up in like the Portland area, and he says that there's honky tonk up there. I guess I just haven't experienced it personally yet. But,
I believe it.
Yeah, and Brandi Carlile and Jamie Wyatt, I believe, are both from Washington State.
Oh wow.
Jamie's from Washington?
Pretty sure.
Interesting.
Pretty sure. I remember Brandi Carlile got on a high horse once when she was on an interview. It's like, we have country in Washington State. Like,
I think it's just like, it's one of those things where like, if you're not based there, it's always just hard to know.
True.
What's going on.
And another thing is just like getting on the road and important to learn is like, you have to go play that crappy bar gig and still play like you're playing to 2,000 people, because there's going to be somebody in that bar who'll be like, you shouldn't be playing here. You should be playing here.
Right. Yeah. And also I have this festival this summer that I want you to come out and play, and I'll give you $3,000 for it. You know what I
mean? There's always that one guy at the bar that's like, why did you play here? You should have played here. You're like, I didn't know.
Yeah. I think a lot of bands probably don't realize, again, not bearing the leads, like you're sales pitching a lot of the time. And I know they call that exposure, but you are selling a product of yourself, and that you can do a good job and entertain people and move people.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys are going to Mississippi tonight. Where are y'all playing in Mississippi?
We're playing Olive Branch, Mississippi.
Mississippi Ale House.
Yes, okay. The town's called, the town's called Olive Branch, and the venue's called Mississippi Ale House. And we're working our way out to Natchez Brewery, which is a pretty cool place. It's usually a route we would do on our way out to Texas. But we love these guys, and they were like, "Can you come out? We'll get you some gigs on the way out there." And we're like, "Okay."
Yeah, they've been begging us for a while. It's like we love those guys out in Natchez. And Natchez is a really cool, unique town down in Mississippi. So it was like, sure, we'll do it. It's outside.
Sure, why not? We could always use money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Have y'all played in Louisiana very much?
Oh,
we've only done New Orleans, I think.
What
Chicky-Wah-Wah or?
Hi-ho. Oh, in New Orleans, the Hi-ho. That's like
okay.
our go-to. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mike, the owner, he's super special, and he's just a big fan. And that's just a kind of another routing thing.
We what was that place called? The Ice House.
Oh wait, no, we played.
That was crazy.
Ruston.
Was that Ruston?
No, the Sundown Tavern.
Oh yeah, Sundown Tavern,
which was an awesome place. We that was also right before the whole COVID thing hit, and they were like, Sarah Shook was like on her way to play there too.
Yeah,
and that was like one of our last shows before everything closed down.
Yeah,
that was a really cool. I think it's a college town.
It is a college town. Yeah, that's literally the only thing in Ruston.
Yeah. Those can be like the best gyms. It's like when you play like Lafayette, Indiana, because Purdue's there and there's all these fun places to go.
Yeah, I love Lafayette, Indiana. It's a great town. That's super awesome, guys. So is there a theme to the record specifically, other than like, the ode to Nashville with the Cashville?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely stuck in a couple themes. I think that, like, one is our sort of our criticism of like the country we live in, and like the state of it, certainly with like Old Palestine and Revelators, and even Atlanta Dog. I mean, I wrote that song about sort of breaking this mythos of the touring musician, going hard on drinks and drugs, and sort of that outlaw mythos, breaking that open, because anyone who does it full time knows that that'll, burn you to the ground real quickly.
Yeah.
I fed animals too.
Yeah. And I fed animals. I mean, I think that we like to think that all our songs are political, I mean, everything at the end of the day can be political.
Mm-hmm.
But that's important to us, especially being able to have that unique perspective, having lived outside of the country, looking in and then coming back, and
then going all over the country and meeting different people.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, for me, like a big thing, like there's like so many things like spiraling around. A big one is like a pining for authenticity and realness. Like, especially like Welcome to Cashville, like, really missing live music and like maybe it never existed, but like that authentic music culture.
Well, just artists taking risks and being themselves, it's like, it's something you find out so quickly once you start going to all your friends' shows here in Nashville. It's like everyone's trying to sound like Jason Isbell, and it's like, man, Jason Isbell does what he does real well, and it's like, good luck with that. But the art that we love is unique and involves a major amount of risk and putting yourself out there and going somewhere maybe no one has been before.
Yeah, definitely. And is this your debut record for your new record label, which is Romanus Records?
Yeah, Romanus Records.
Yeah.
It is. It's our debut album, which is nuts. But all these songs are very, very much so road worn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was supposed to come out last year, but COVID.
So it was like this time last year it was supposed to come out and you had to push it back a whole year?
Yeah, we just decided to just like kind of like, we're a live band. We like to play in front of people. So we wanted to wait till it was safe to bring it to the masses.
And what's the actual date that it comes out? Is it May 7th?
So no, it comes out May 28th, actually.
Oh, 28th, sorry.
Yeah, May 28th, the digital album will be out. And then May 29th is when those specialty vinyl will be on sale on Romanus Records, just on their website, romanusrecords.com. And we're thinking they're going to sell out. I mean, these things are pretty nuts. And we're pretty proud of the work they do over there. Yeah. So it's cool to tie the music once again to a tangible art form.
Yeah.
So
the last vinyl release for Romanus, featuring one of our friends, Lung, Other Road Dogs, their vinyl sold out in about 5 hours.
Wow.
So maybe like for anybody who's listening, like just like little heads up, you might want to like at least join the newsletter for Romanus Records or get on their on their Patreon to maybe get an inside thing.
He's just like, on top of the groundwork that we've done for our band, to have the fans that we do, he has literally an international crowd of vinyl collectors. So that's part of that reason. It's a strong combo, it's what everyone wants. It's what you want.
Like, funnily enough, I don't know if you saw the email this morning, Elliot. A guy emailed us from Australia. His name's Kevin. He said, "When do you guys plan to tour Australia?" And I didn't really know how to respond to that one. I was like, that's a bucket list. We'd love to. We love that you actually know who we are. And that's because of Romanus.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe let the COVID pandemic end first and we'll tackle that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting because it's like, yeah, I definitely want to come there. But if you're the only person that shows up in Australia, it doesn't really pay the bills.
I'm going to be in trouble.
I'm going to be in the red.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, just a little bit. So what does your summer look like? Are y'all kind of spending the entire summer on the road supporting the new record? Are y'all doing some streaming stuff as well?
Yeah, we'll be on the road this summer and in this fall pretty consistently as we'd like.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like we said, that's why we wanted to wait to release the album so that we could tour it. But yeah, we've done some streaming stuff. We actually, the one thing I like about all the streaming is that it pushed us to really get some quality live performance footage captured and recorded. We did a festival called Moonrunners Fest based in Chicago that was live streamed. And it's been nice because we never had time really, to be honest, to focus on that. But we're a live band. We miss humans. So we'll be doing it in front of people as much as possible.
As safe as possible. Like a lot of those shows will be outside and hopefully social distance. It's kind of, it's up in the air of how well or how rocky it's going to be. But we have like Pond Stock, which is out in Nebraska, coming up in June that we'll be going out to. We're really excited.
Yeah, a couple big festivals.
Mm-hmm. Then hopefully Mile Music.
What's that?
Hopefully Mile Music.
Oh, Mile of Music, yeah. Have they announced if they're doing it in person yet?
They have not. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Everybody get vaccinated. Wear your masks.
Yeah, everybody get vaccinated for sure. My friends Adrian and Meredith, I think, usually play that. I don't know if you know them.
Yes, I do. In fact, I think we've seen them play at D's.
Do they go under
Adrian plus Meredith?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I think I've seen them. Are they based here in Nashville?
Yeah, they're based here in East Nashville. Yeah. They're kind of a folky, jazzy. I don't know. One of their favorite bands is the Squirrel Nut Zippers. They kind of do like a swingy folk jazz thing. It's super cool.
That's awesome. They sound really familiar. I think I've seen them here in Nashville.
Yeah, the D's.
Yeah, probably D's. I think we've actually played. You and I have played together at D's or Five Spot or something. I know I've met you guys and seen y'all play.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome. It's like, I mean, this too. It's like after a while you've played so many shows and you're like, probably.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, probably.
Somebody was like, did you play this venue in this year? I was like, maybe. It's kind of gotten to be a blur after a while.
Yeah. I think it was like a Monday night. It might have been with Nick Nace. Do y'all know Nick?
Oh my God. Yeah. So it was probably is it the Madison Guild?
Yeah. I think that's what it might have been. It was either that or it was a $2.
Was it during Americana Fest?
That's amazing. We love Nick. Yeah. Nick's one of my favorite songwriters here in Nashville. I love his stuff.
Yeah. He just put out a new video at D's actually.
He did. It's beautiful. Yeah. We're proud of him.
He's getting really good at the photography and videography.
Yeah. It's super awesome to see, people really grow in new crafts during the pandemic. Because
funny story is that we met Nick on the road in Texas at this great venue called Magnolia Motor Lounge in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I actually had a gig there that got canceled because of the COVID. Yeah.
I think we did too. I think we were supposed to hit it up. But that's funny. I think most of our friends in Nashville might have been people that we met in other places. Like Laurel and the Lovin'. We met them in Indiana.
Oh yeah, the Lovin'.
We met Hillbilly Casino in Green Bay.
But of course, it's what we're all here, what we want to be doing. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Do y'all have a Nashville album release show planned that you can announce? Or?
We actually don't yet.
What?
I know. So we'll see. We might do something in our backyard. We've got a show like the next day or we're very close around the release. We have a little tour. We're going out to Columbia, Missouri and whatnot. So we'll see.
Yeah, we start making our way to Pawnstock, I think. So it might just not have worked out. I don't know. Our booker Brad has specifically forbade me from any booking things.
Chris used to do it all. So we're not naive. Chris booked us for probably 4 years straight.
That's got to be tough, though, to go from booking every gig to being forbidden to.
Oh, it's awful. It's like it's an addiction because, you know, I mean, I'm sure, you know, you get that little high when you get that confirmation from the show. And it's like, I get to add this to the calendar.
Yeah.
But now I don't get that.
And people still contact you, which is like.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
right.
I need you to talk to Brad because Brad will yell at me if I do anything. But sure, I mean, you know, we'll have something. We played Nashville. Actually, that was our first show back a couple of weeks ago, Basement East, in support of Jack's Hollow. And her album.
So yeah, we you know, we try to play Nashville only a couple times a year, but yeah, we need a release show. I know.
If I like email Brad, he'll be like, you need to be aware that you're supposed to do only Nashville shows quarterly and things like that for draw and things like that. And I was like, oh yeah, because I was like really bad. Like Elliot would be like, we have an EP release and you just booked this at Springwater, Chris. Like 3 days before. It was like, I know, but our friends are playing.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I need to get on that because I definitely do stupid stuff like that all the time.
Well, it's just we want to play. It's fun.
Right. Yeah. You don't think about like, oh, this could affect, you know, because you know that half your friends are going to say they're going to come and they're not going to come.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah. And it's like, you know, I always think of this as like, even if I was going to go, even if Gillian Welch was playing, you know, 6 shows in the span of 2 months, I might just go to 2 of them.
Right.
You know? Maybe if they were all in Nashville, you know what I mean? So it's like, even your favorite artists, it's like, you might not be, you know, going out to see as often as you think.
That's true. Yeah. Makes it a little more special.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a weird time. And like, you know, Brad is kind of like working from the fall back because, you know, just things are kind of like, we didn't even know we had that Basement East show until like a week or 2 before. So things are just kind of, I think as things are slowly getting back to normal, things are just kind of popping up. So we're just kind of have learned to just like roll with it, you know?
He's also busy.
He's also really busy.
Brad, we're with Atomic Music Group now, which I highly recommend. The Mastersons are on there too, which they play for Steve Earle.
Oh yeah.
And he books for the Dead South. So we're always like, I'm sorry, Brad.
Sorry to bother you.
I'm sorry. We're bothering you. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let you guys get to the gig. I know you got to get on the road and that's a few hours away. I really appreciate you taking the time out to come on the podcast. And I'm really excited about the new record. I'll definitely make myself in the queue for Romanus Records on May 29th.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can get one of those cool vinyl records.
Awesome. Thank you for having us, Will. I look forward to seeing you play those songs live.
Yeah, me too. And hopefully I'll get to catch you guys here in town. But yeah, thanks so much for being on.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Well, that's it for this episode of Americana Station. Thank you so much, Volk, for being on. And make sure you check out their new record, Cashville, out on Romanus Records. You can get that vinyl on May 29th. Make sure you don't miss that. They'll probably sell out. So get in the queue with me and let's grab a copy. Until next time, this is Will Payne Harrison. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for rating and reviewing. Thank you so much for being such a awesome supporter of the podcast, of all these artists, and it means the world to us. So stick around. We got more music coming up, and we'll see you next time on Americana Station Podcast.